running, never stopping when you feel you're getting nowhere.
The doctor is in.
The doctor's in, and also on the newsmaker line, I got Andy Valadez. Come on in here, Andy.
Good afternoon, Doc. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. You're with Stealth Marketing.
Well, I go by Stealth Marketer online because a lot of times I'm behind the scenes, and really it's not about me, it's about my client. So my company is Marketing Dynamics, and basically thank you for featuring Mike the Voice. He's actually one of my clients, and there's a reason why I wanted to have him on the show today.
Well, we certainly enjoyed chatting with him, and he's got a fabulous voice.
Yeah, actually, my business partner, Jim Boy, JRB Venture Alliance, was in California and discovered him, and, hey, we want to work with this guy, and so we partnered to bring him front and center for a variety of different purposes. One is doing voice work, like you mentioned, for causes and for, folks that need someone to kind of articulate their message strategically, because it's all about strategy. And anyway, thank you for having me on the show.
Well, glad to do it. First of all, in the interest of full disclosure, Andy works with the show here, and he does a lot of stuff. And I mean, you're pretty much a marketing genius from what I can tell. You're always coming up with these amazing ideas. And see, there's a lot of people out there like me that are willing to work hard and try to make something happen. But to have somebody that just comes up with some out of the left field great idea, that's not me. That's when you need a guy like Andy Valadez.
Well, great. The reason I want to come on the show today is to talk about you, because you talk about everybody else. And, of course, as a marketing strategist, I kind of view myself as a casting director looking for great talent. And, you are the lead guitar player of this whole machine, and you just need some backup, players. Of course, we're fine-tuning the amps and the soundboard and getting in tune. But, basically the Liberty voice is underserved in our market across the nation and around the world. I was just listening to the interview with the gentleman you had regarding South Africa. So we basically have, a global platform, and there's some tools and resources that are available at our disposal that would actually make us bigger than even some of the national MSM. They always get the brand credit, and in reality, they don't necessarily have that many viewers or listeners when you start looking at the conservative media like Drudge Report, which gets billions of hits a month. You look at InfoWars, which gets millions of listeners, a day. And the type of talent, the type of guests, the type of content you're covering, we definitely want to attract supporters and sponsors, because it does take money to do this stuff. But in reality, with very little money, we can do a lot. So one of the things we want to talk about is your website. You want to have a chat a little bit about that?
Well, certainly. That would be the docgreene.me website.
Yeah, so basically we have a new and improved website. We're fine-tuned now. But today, for example, there's 2 blog submissions that we have. One from Raymond Herrera, and you know a little bit about that. He got, escorted out of one of these city council meetings, and I guess the judge is actually supporting him per se, but he's going to talk about what that experience is. So you can actually go to the blog now and read that article. And then we did a feature on a martial arts studio, Defenders Martial Arts, which you've had on the show before. And so in essence, after listening to your guest from South Africa, we want those articles. If you have an article that, has a cause or something that Doc can talk about on the radio show, we can post the article. And of course that helps us to push it on social media, et cetera. But anyway, there's a way for you to even listen to the show live or watch the show live on the website. So every day from 1 to 3 p.m. Central Time, you just go to the broadcasting live link, and the YouTube video will actually go live as soon as Doc comes on the air. And then, of course, we do have an advertiser feature if you're interested in sponsoring the show. Basically, as a marketing strategist myself, we have a PowerPoint brief that we'll be able to go over to tell you how you can maximize your involvement with the platform.
Well, you could be found a lot of places, but one of the things, I believe it's teammarketingdynamics.com. Is that the best website to go to?
Yeah, that's my website, but again, today's about you. We're talking about the Doc Greene show. You remember back in the 80s that there was a cool song called, what was it called? There was a movie that came out, or there was a scene in the movie when it was about the convoy. Breaker 19.
Oh,
Looks like we
yeah,
got us a
yeah.
convoy.
Yeah, absolutely. The Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, there you go. So out there, I mean, there's a lot of people talking about conservative issues and liberty issues, and we positioned you as the rebellious voice of liberty, like cannons on the horizon. So we definitely want to have a bigger microphone, and there's ways to do that, across the nation. And one of the things that we're going to be doing to support what you're doing is starting to issue global press releases. There's a company out there. This company's been around for a long time called prweb.com. And if you're in business, you want to take a look at this website resource. Again, it's prweb.com. So basically, for $345, I mean, you can get a global reach with a press release. And what's important about press releases is that if it's newsworthy, a news editor will pick up the story and run with it. And that's very, cheap and ineffective. I mean, effective advertising for you if someone writes a story. But even if an editor doesn't pick up your story, what's interesting is you get Yahoo News, AOL News, Google News to pick up your story and run it for you automatically, which then shows up on searches.
And
so it's really about driving traffic online, driving traffic on social media. So we'll be bringing in some social media experts to really start to package these contents that we'll be generating from the show. So anyway, what else do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, I'm just going to mention, you can have a little bit of fun. If you guys ever played Where's Waldo, you can go to the amazing Doc Greene. Well, actually, just go to docgreene.me. It's easy.
Yeah.
And the photo that's going to show up there, and then you can say, all right, where's Doc? But the cool part about it is that's a group photo, and I'm amazed at how many of my friends are in that photo. And I think a lot of you listeners of the show, you go there and you say, hey, I know that guy. There's a bunch of people in there you would know. I mean, it's a fabulous portrait that you got up there top of the webpage.
And that's symbolic of the voice. I mean, it takes a team to, bring a spotlight to the issues you're bringing. And the bigger your spotlight, the more, I was listening to the call-in you had with the toll roll system, and how quickly they finally figured out, like, oh man, we better take care of this, like ASAP, And having a microphone and a megaphone really gives you a lot of power. But again, we're one voice, but if you can have a guest on your show like you're doing, and you supported so many people over the years, it just adds more unity, it adds more loyalty, it adds more alignment. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to working with the show. I'm excited about, just what I see. I mean, you and I are visionaries, and a lot of times we get a glimpse of what's possible. But it's always good when you're working with somebody like yourself and others that, say, you know what, if you do this, I can do that online. And so a lot of people are actually discussing how we can help, bring more listeners, more viewers, and even more content that's helpful. It's helpful for people to know about what's going on in California or what's going on in South Africa or what's going on, in New York or whatever. And if we can give them a voice and help them to, have that power of leverage with the media, then I think it makes our jobs a whole lot easier.
Well, I'm just trying to follow up on my passion. I want to see liberty restored. First to Texas. I'd love to see Texas actually have some real liberty again. And then secondly, I'd like to see it restored to the entire United States if that were possible. So hence the name, Rebellious Voice of Liberty is apropos.
Right, and on the site we put smashing rhinos, in cuts. You know what I'm saying? These people that they hear things you're not saying, and it's almost like you can't fix stupid. And it's like, come on, people, wake up. For us that are in tune and we know what's going on, it's really amazing how dumbed down our society has become.
Well, I was talking to a guy about that this morning. Is the fact that what happens in the Pink Palace in Austin affects you so much more than what's happening in Washington, D.C. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are just like I used to be, Andy. They really honestly believe that all I have to do is go to church on Sunday, bring their tithe, and vote Republican, and everything's going to be just fine. But we've proven that a lot of the Republicans out there are exactly that. They are rhinos, Republicans in name only. And consequently, they're not up there supporting liberty in Austin. They're up there trying to take your liberty, trying to increase your taxes, just the opposite of what our party platform would generally call for.
Right, they're sitting on important platforms like constitutional carry, I believe, has died in calendars, and the human trafficking bill. It's like they all talk a good game, but then they figure out a way not to make it happen. You know, it's almost like a drug dealer, you know, looking for a cop. You know, they're not looking for the cop, but they act like they are. You know, they act like they're looking for liberty. They swear an oath, and then they get in office, and then you know they find a way not to do what they're supposed to do.
Well, you know, in all of these cases. Once again, we got a guy named Todd Hunter. I'll give Todd Hunter a little free commercial because he's a Republican. And Todd Hunter said, look, you know, all you guys out there, some of these things you have to look like you're for, even though you're against it. Well, just bring that over to me and I'll kill it in calendars. That way you can go back to your constituents and tell them you supported it. But it just never came up for a vote. And he said, let me take the hit for it because I'm Todd Hunter. I live in a safe seat in Texas. Nobody's voting me out of here.
And what would Donald Trump say? Sad. What about this Comey firing? Have you had a chance to talk about that?
No, not yet.
Oh, well, you know, for the rest of it, it's like, man, a breath of fresh air. Finally, somebody gets fired for doing nothing, really. You know, it seems like throughout the Obama administration and others, I mean, no one ever got fired for not doing their job. You know.
Well,
this is,
I mean, you and I both agree that Comey needed to be fired a long time ago. It's a long. I mean, he's the guy. He's the author of the two-tier justice system. There's the justice system for the Clintons, and then there's the justice system for everyone else. And that isn't the way it's supposed to be.
So the question is, who's next? You know, it seems like we're watching The Apprentice live in the government right now, which is kind of cool.
Well, so, this is what you and I both want. I should mention to everybody out there that you were one of the early supporters of Donald Trump, as was I, and you were working very hard here in Texas to get him elected. And we elected him for this purpose. We wanted to hear him say, you're fired. And we wanted to hear it a lot because there's a whole cesspool, an absolute veritable swamp that's deeper than the ocean and wider than the globe in Washington, D.C. And Donald Trump is just the guy to start cleaning that thing out.
Well, you know, the righteous incline to the right, so we definitely are,
what the word says.
I mean, the conservative audience, the libertarian audience, I mean, they're highly educated, they're very active in their communities, they're gainfully employed. I mean, they are the producers. They are the ones that have, you know, they care for their families, their communities, et cetera. But, you know, a lot of times the left media, they just like bash, you know, the left. And again, we're an underserved market, but, you know, Trump has given us cover. I mean, the thing is, you know, you can not like him, you can like him or, you know, or whatnot. But while we have cover, it's in our best interest to start moving and start doing stuff, you know, as opposed to, you know, trying to defeat. It's like, you know what, we can each accomplish things, you know, in our neighborhood that make a difference, and it all adds up eventually. So anyway, that's my preaching. But again, about your show, you know, we're planning to do like 30 events, live broadcasts. We'd love to position Doc to come speak at your event, you know. And, you know, Doc's a generous man, and he loves to do this, but, you know, we really need the resources to be able to cover, cost of travel, cost of lodging, you know, and be able to, you know, bring a spotlight to the supporters and advertisers that come to the place. So I do have a PowerPoint brief. If you have a company and basically you want to take a bite of the apple, I mean, it's affordable. We have something for everybody, really. I can email it to you, and Doc and I have reviewed it. You know, it makes a lot of business sense. I think, you know, Doc was blown away with really what he's already doing. I really love the component in your show, Doc, where you have, I call it Doc's Rock Music Discovery Vault. You know, the music you share on the show, I mean, it's a different, you know, flavor to it. Long live rock and roll, man.
Well, there's a lot of incredible music out there that nobody ever heard, and the one I played just before you came on, Neil Merriweather, one of the finest rock bass players ever, but his stuff never really caught on. He did about 4 or 5 albums, but he never really got any real airplay, and it doesn't mean the stuff wasn't good. It just, you know, nobody ever heard it. So I try to play stuff like that. I have an incredible library. I've got thousands of albums, and I try to play things that I enjoy that I think other people ought to hear. And so far, it seems to be working pretty well.
Well, we're going to start listing these bands on your website. So I'm going to create a page to feature these bands, and people can go do their research on them because they are. You're right; it's incredible music. But even as we're talking, I know there's a company here in our market that basically he's like a manufacturer for vinyl. So, vinyl, I think this year was $1 billion industry. And so maybe he might want to sponsor, this segment because he's got, I think one of the largest collections of old, of classic music, just in old music, all kinds of music. And this may be a perfect thing for him to support. Always love your newsmaker line. That's another option for someone that's wanting to be cutting edge and be seen as cutting edge to be a sponsor for the newsmaker line. You make that available for your listening audience, and et cetera. So again, what we've done is we've looked at the show, we've looked at the format, and we've created a way for different companies that, it makes sense for product placement, for example. I mean, you do the live video. I mean, an underwriter for the show, we can put their product or logo in the show, et cetera. So there's just, again, I don't want to go to the whole package, but we can send it to you for review. And if you can plan for your budget this year, we'll show you how we can maximize your involvement with the show.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that claim to love liberty, and this is, unfortunately, it's not free. We don't run on sunshine and hot water, as my pastor used to say. So we appreciate it when you support a show like this, because I want to bring the word out to you, and I want to get to the people that need to be jacked up a little bit. I mean, like the missing persons thing. Harris County Sheriffs, last time when we started our series, there wasn't anything newer than 4 years on the missing persons site. And since we started talking about it, now we got stuff on there that's less than 10 days old. Still not good enough, but a dramatic improvement. And all we had to do was demonstrate that somebody cared about it, and it got something done. And our good buddy Todd Hunter on the calendars committee, he's from Corpus Christi. Who's going to primary that guy? He's got a safe seat, he says. He's not worried about getting voted out, he says. So here's your opportunity to be effective with Todd Hunter and give that guy a little competition. Maybe remind him what it really means to be a Texan. And
so that's in Corpus Christi?
Yeah, he's in Corpus Christi, Todd Hunter.
Okay, so let's say you're in Corpus Christi and you want to hold an event within the next month, 2 or 3, and we want to do a live broadcast out in Corpus. That's roughly around $3,000. To do the live broadcast, maybe some travel included in that. But we could schedule something with Doc and then work with your group to publicize it so that we make sure a lot of people show up. I don't know where you would do it, maybe at his doorstep. I don't know, wherever, but definitely
maybe
bring a spotlight,
we could do it
video with it, everything.
He's a lawyer. We could do it at his law office down there at the law offices of Hunter Barker Francher.
Well, I'm sure he has a competitor. Maybe we do it at his competitor's office and we bring a spotlight to their company over his. But anyway, we're open to how we strategically play this stuff out. But, of course, when it's newsworthy, it's newsworthy. It gets covered, whether it's on Doc Greene show or any other alternative media even. So it's definitely, we just got to leverage the tools that are available from marketing and promotions and advertising and, all that good stuff.
Well, we just want Todd Hunter to know that we really appreciate everything he's doing, and that's why we want as many people as possible to know about it. And how he gets those bills. The problem is
they don't realize that, what you just talked about, I mean, you're providing life-saving information. So the fact that you actually brought a spotlight to an issue, no telling how many lives are going to be saved, and how many people are going to be alert to the fact that, they're not doing their job, and they need to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, so.
Well, you're absolutely right. And the sheriff's office, I decided to call him a little bit before the show today because it is so important. And I noticed that they hadn't put anything up in the last 10 days. And so after I made a couple of phone calls, they said, no, you need to call a right number. And they gave me the right number. And here is that phone call, Andy Valadez. I think that's it. Oh, I'm waiting for my lightning fast computer to wake up. Here we are. Here's the call. So anyway, Andy, this is what I'm talking about. This is so important to the Harris County Sheriff's Office that they wanted me to be able to talk to the right person, and so they gave me this phone number so that I could do it. And I'm just going to let that play while we talk here. But it's good to know that the fourth largest sheriff's department in the entire United States, with all the millions of people that live here, that these guys have become proactive in taking care of the missing persons department, and they've posted numbers on their website that you can call so that if you have an involvement with a missing person, you can immediately get someone to take a look at that situation and maybe give them pertinent information about how that person could be found or maybe rescued from the kidnapper. So that's why they gave me this phone number, and that's why I wanted to record this live call so that you guys could hear it. And this, I recorded this about, I guess about 12:45 today. I recorded this phone call, Andy.
Well, something like that recording we can put on your blog. We can then push it to Drudge Report and Alex Jones and others to pick up as a story. Again, all of a sudden, news gets back to the people that haven't manned this position and say, hey, we want to make sure somebody answers that call.
Well, yeah, I called 713-274-9360, Harris County Sheriff's Department, because I was told that was who I needed to talk to if I wanted to get some more information on the missing persons in Harris County. Being the fourth largest sheriff's department in the entire United States, and with somewhere around 150, 200 people that go missing here every week in Harris County, just 150 in Houston city limits, they want to get on that right away, and that's why they gave me this number so I could call and immediately get some help with this.
Well, maybe they've named it correctly. It's missing person. The missing.
And that was the phone call right there. Impressive, huh? Harris County Sheriff's Department on the job for you.
Wow.
I don't know what we're going to do about this, but, Andy Valadez, you're in the marketing business, and Team Marketing Dynamics does a great job. But you know what I appreciate about you? You're a Marine, and you are on target. You're in the zone. You're on mission, and you never quit. And that's what I appreciate about you, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that. In fact, I did go for a promotion board for sergeant when I was in the Marine Corps, and one of the questions they asked me was about battles in the future. And at the time, computers were relatively new. I don't think there was even internet in 1990 time frame. You had to do dial-up internet and whatnot. But I did say that a lot of battles would be done on the internet. Of course, the battle of ideas, I think Sun Tzu says the best war, are the ones never fought.
Yes.
So it's best for us to get engaged and active now, and we don't want to get into a place where, there's blood in the streets per se, with all the protests you're seeing on, all over the country, a lot of it exacerbated and orchestrated and planned or whatever. So it's best for us to get active now so that, again, I'm looking at my children and grandchildren. I know you're doing the same, that it not happen on our watch, as Oath Keepers even says. We've got to engage now. And really, it doesn't take, it just takes a few of us, really, when you look at the numbers. I mean, the totality of the impact that we can have. A few good men, really all women, is all it takes.
Well, it really is. And I like to point out, we got Sylvester the Cat as our mayor. And Sylvester the Cat, a sodomite, would not have been elected if some people had showed up to vote. But there were 150,000 registered Republicans who did not cast a vote in the Houston mayoral election. And he won by 3,000 votes, Andy.
Wow.
So we got the government we deserve because we don't show up. And that's all I'm trying to do here on this show is I want to restore liberty by getting you involved. And I know you all got jobs. I know you got stuff you got to do. I'm grateful for you to take time to listen to the show. And those of you that listen to the YouTube thing after the show is over, when you get home at night, God bless you. I appreciate it. But I've got to activate you, the listener, because one guy cannot do it. But in the case of our mayor, if we'd had just 3,000 people more in this city metro area, I guess just inside the city is about 2 million people. If we'd had just 3,000 more showed up to vote, 3,000 of those 150,000 Republicans showed up and cast a vote, we would be on our way to restoring the city of Houston instead of heading into bankruptcy.
Right. Again, to drive the message home again for the listeners, basically, I mean, all you really can do even now to make it very simple is write a donation check to the radio show so that we can sponsor. If you have a company, make a planned advertising purchase to say, hey, I'm supporting liberty and this is what my company can do. Our top level to even underwrite the show right now is $5,000 a month. So basically, you can underwrite the show and it'd be named after you, and then we have something as low as $100 a month.
And let me put that in perspective. $5,000 a month. If you go down to KSEV, where I also broadcast on most weekends, you go down there and you got $5,000. They're going to say, great, that'll take care of you for a week. Do you want to do a whole month? You know, they're going to charge 4 times that. And they're only going to reach the Houston metro area, whereas our audience is worldwide here, Andy. Yes.
And you got 4 platforms, and you've got so many moving parts that can be maximized. I mean, $5,000, really. I mean, we can make it look like $20,000 online because the cost of marketing really is not that expensive these days, especially with social media. You know, with a press release service, of course, with expanded. There's some video syndication resources that are available to really push the content. You know, so we haven't. We're fine-tuning. We're getting the band together, you know, and basically we'll be singing online here pretty soon with the platform you have now. So,
well, I'm really excited about everything you're doing. And guys, once again, Team Marketing Dynamics, if you want Andy Valadez to help you with some of the stuff you're doing. And we're going to hit this break. We're going to be right back on the Doc Greene Show.
The amazing Doc Greene Show is on the air.
You just defended yourself with a gun. The police are called and you're potentially involved in a homicide. But it was self-defense. At this point, you are not in your right mind. No one ever is when they are in fear for their life and defend themselves. Anything you say can and will be used in a court of law, both civilly and criminally. Fortunately, you have selfdefensefund.com. We are the National Association for Legal Gun Defense, and we protect our members nationally in all 50 states, up to $1 million per incident per member. Let us do the talking for you and visit selfdefensefund.com. Any weapon, any state, anytime.